I've reviewed a lot of NASs, and ironically, some of the coolest and most versatile NASs that I've checked out were never actually NASs in the first place. This was the basic idea of both the original ZimaBoard and the ZimaBlade, which I already made videos about here on this channel, but today we're going to be focusing on the very creatively named ZimaBoard 2, which takes everything you probably already loved about the ZimaBoard and adds a far more capable Intel N150 CPU, which I just can't seem to stop talking about lately, and your choice of either 8 or 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5X memory. But there's a lot more to the story here, like for example, the case of the new ZimaBoard
Holy crap.
is basically just a solid brick of anodized aluminum that looks more like an Apple product than something from a crowdfunded startup.
That thing's beautiful.
And this time around, I also got some extra accessories that I can mess around with, chief among them being the mini NAS 2-bay hard drive kit. This is basically just a really fancy piece of extruded aluminum that lets you mount dual 3.5-inch hard drives and a half-height PCIe expansion card to the bottom of the ZimaBoard. It comes with all the screws you need and a PCIe riser cable, so if you get the ZimaBoard with the NAS kit, you really only need to add your own hard drives to turn it into a complete NAS. Getting all of this put together was pretty simple, and I also took the time to install the optional $6 cooling fan onto the top of the ZimaBoard just to help assist with thermals, and I have to admit this thing is really cool. I'm running a pair of Western Digital Red 4TB hard drives, which I'm going to be running in a mirrored RAID, which we'll talk more about once we dive into the software situation here. And for those of you that aren't familiar, the ZimaBoard 2 has all of the same physical I/O as the original model, but now we're rocking dual 2.5 gigabit Ethernet links, dual USB 3.1 ports, DisplayPort 1.4 in a mini connector, and on the side, a 4-lane PCI Express 3.0 connection, which is going to be very welcome for higher speed storage devices or network interfaces that could have been limited by the original PCIe 2.0 link of the old ZimaBoard. But just like the original ZimaBoard, we also get a pair of 6GB SATA ports along with a power connector that works with the included SATA Y cable to run a pair of desktop 3.5-inch hard drives. And this highlights another nice little improvement with the ZimaBoard 2, which is the fact that it's shipping with a 50-watt international power adapter in the box, which can accommodate the higher spin-up current of these bigger hard drives. And all of these features really bring the ZimaBoard up to par with the hardware I'd expect to see in modern NAS devices you can buy online. But as I alluded to earlier, the hardware is only half the battle, which brings me into the discussion about software. And when you purchase your ZimaBoard with a choice of either 32 or 64 gigabytes of onboard eMMC flash storage, that storage is going to ship with ZimaOS installed, which isn't something that I've actually covered on this channel until now, except I basically already have. And that's because ZimaOS is the official continuation of CasaOS, the NAS OS I keep recommending that isn't actually an OS, and I'm really tired of explaining the poor marketing here, so let me put it like this. CasaOS was a program that you could install on a computer running a standard Linux distribution, such as Debian Linux, which would give your computer a web interface that could be accessed over the network to manage storage pools, create network shares, and deploy Docker containers, for example, which are all very common tasks that you would want to do on a NAS. ZimaOS, on the other hand, is a custom Linux image made by IceWhale, the company behind ZimaBoard, which provides the entire operating system, extra software, configuration, updates, as well as the ZimaOS web interface, which, as you might be able to guess, was originally CasaOS. This means that all of the updates and support for your NAS are now coming from IceWhale rather than the Debian project or whoever else may have been providing support for your preferred Linux distro. And this provides IceWhale the ability to build much deeper and more reliable integration between the ZimaOS web interface and the underlying operating system, since they control the entire stack. I personally think this is a really positive direction for ZimaOS, but since ZimaOS is now in control of all of the software and updates applied to your NAS, it also requires more trust, and that's a difficult issue that I'm going to be diving into a little later. As far as the software experience, though, I have to admit I was really impressed. ZimaOS has added a lot of new features and usability improvements since their switch to their own Linux image, and this was evident even going through the first time setup. Make a new user account, head on to Settings, and then Storage, and click the Start button to create a storage pool. You'll be presented with different options for making a RAID pool, and I just did RAID 1 to mirror the contents of my drives. Then selected my two SATA hard drives, gave the pool a name, confirmed the changes, and clicked Create. ZimaOS does everything else in the background, like building the array, mounting it, and configuring SMB share to make it accessible over the network using the credentials of the user account that you made earlier. And this philosophy of just doing everything the user probably wants to do is actually my favorite part of ZimaOS, since it makes NAS configuration very accessible even to those that might not be very familiar with Linux and system administration in general. Apps are also really easy. Just head on over to the App Store. At this point, ZimaOS has dozens of officially curated app containers that can be deployed in one click, as well as an interface for manually deploying Docker containers from Docker Hub if you need anything else. For certain applications like Jellyfin, you will need to manually configure volumes for things like movies and TV shows stored in your RAID array, which I wish was presented as a user-friendly option during installation, but that's just a single setting that you can configure in the settings of the Jellyfin app, and then you're good to go. I'll be making a guide in the next couple of weeks showing how to deploy ZimaOS on any compatible NAS and do all of the stuff I'm explaining here to run Jellyfin and many other apps. So if you want to see how all of this works in depth, please make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell so you don't miss that video. New to ZimaOS is also the ZVM app, which is a very easy to use web interface for creating and managing cloud VMs. And this is honestly super cool to me. You literally just open up the app, click the OS you want to use to create your VM, and ZVM will download the installer ISO, ask where you want to save the files on the NAS, and then you can just create the virtual machine. Everything else is done automatically, and you'll get booted into your VM in just a few minutes. This is going to be awesome for any apps or services that you can't get in the App Store, and you can run as many virtual machines as you have the RAM and storage for. These perform pretty well on ZimaBoard 2 since the Intel N150 adds virtualization extensions that greatly reduce the overhead of running a virtual machine. So don't be afraid to mess with this feature. And much like other popular NASs on the market right now, there's also a Zima desktop client that you can install on your PC to add some extra features like network discovery of your NAS, scheduled backups, the ability to quickly mount a share on your ZimaBoard to your PC, and remote access so you can remotely transfer files to and from your NAS even if you're not at home. The point I'm trying to make here is that ZimaOS has seriously matured to the point where I see it as being a very compelling option in a market where everyone else has closed source and locked down software. And I believe IceWhale's philosophy of building their software in collaboration with their community is the reason why it works so well. But trust is an issue that I already mentioned before and need to expand on, because a NAS is a device that you're putting some of your most important data on. And you need to be able to trust that the software running on it is going to be stable, that security updates are going to keep rolling in, and that the company will actually exist far enough into the future to keep supporting the thing. But I'm pretty optimistic that they will, since they've already managed to ship multiple hardware products, and from the outside, it doesn't look like they're showing any signs of slowing down. But if you aren't comfortable with this, the ZimaBoard is just a regular x86 PC. And you can install any other operating system that you might want to use. It should work perfectly fine. So with everything about the software out of the way, I wanted to get some real-world numbers on the ZimaBoard 2 just to see how far I could push this setup. So I ran my usual passmark performance test to see how this Intel N150 compared to average benchmarks. And in my testing, after running 10 consecutive passes of the CPU benchmark, I ended up with a CPU mark of 5496 with a single core score of 2074, which is actually higher than the average N150 benchmark recorded on the Passmark database, and I only ever saw a total package temperature of 67 degrees, which is very impressive considering how small the little fan on the ZimaBoard 2 is. And I've mentioned it before, but for anyone who's never seen an Intel N100 or N150, these are pretty comparable in performance to a 7th or 8th gen Core i5 mobile processor, and they manage to offer that performance while only having a 6-watt TDP. These are far more than enough for the vast majority of home server use cases, and at this point I own a lot of devices with the Intel N150 that I've purchased myself. They're great little processors, and I think they fit the ZimaBoard very well. There were a couple of concerns with the ZimaBoard 2 that I wanted to mention here though, the first of which is the fact that the fan mount seems to be designed without a whole lot of care, and installing it actually scratched the anodized aluminum coating of my ZimaBoard. Now, I probably should have just been more careful, but still it would have been nice to see a thin rubber pad or something between the fan mount and the ZimaBoard chassis to prevent this from happening. For this reason, I also chose to avoid screwing the ZimaBoard into the mini NAS frame, even though it includes the screws to do so. I just don't really like that kind of metal on metal contact that can wear down on the finish, so I just stuck some rubber feet on the ZimaBoard and left it at that. And my other problem is also with the housing, unfortunately. If you remember how I mentioned at the beginning of the video that the ZimaBoard 2 really looks more like an Apple product, well, unfortunately, anyone who's ever opened a MacBook knows that the screws they use are unfortunately very easy to strip, and the ZimaBoard seems to have followed suit in that regard. It's not bad, but I don't want to be messing with these screws very often because I already stripped one out just taking the bottom cover off. This isn't a deal breaker, just something to be aware of. But in the end, I'm still really impressed with the ZimaBoard 2. It offers a really compelling value if you're wanting to put together your own mini NAS without giving up on the ability to expand and upgrade over time, which is a lot more than you can say about pretty much any other NAS near this price point. The ZimaBoard 2 I reviewed here is available right now on pre-order with 16GB of RAM and 64GB of onboard storage for $279 US. And adding the NAS kit along with the cooling fan brings that to about $312. If you want to learn more, I'll leave links down in the description where you'll be able to get your hands on the ZimaBoard 2 and some hard drives in case you need to price out the final cost of your NAS. So with all that said, I think I'm pretty much done here. So if you thought this video was helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future content. And as always, have an awesome day.